Welcome to another SourceFuse's Talking Out Cloud Friday Leadership Chat Series. My name is Liz Grint, Marketing Manager here at SourceFuse. Before I introduce my two special guests, for those unfamiliar with SourceFuse, we transform the way today's most successful enterprises modernize and migrate to the cloud by providing digital transformation solutions and services using the most advanced cloud technologies and expertise. But perhaps what makes SourceFuse a really special place to work is its commitment to creating an inclusive working culture, celebrating diverse genders and recognizing and rewarding individual contributions and their unique qualities. So in a month where we celebrate International Women's Day, I'm thrilled to be joined by two women in tech leadership roles, both with senior positions at Amazon Web Services, to share their unique perspectives on the industry when it comes to breaking the bias. My first guest is Nieves Garcia Diez, AI and Machine Learning Business Development Lead at AWS, a true strategist and innovation leader. She describes herself as data-driven, business-driven, and customer-driven, perfectly balancing technical, business, and analytical acumen with the ability to influence and collaborate with stakeholders and partners. Welcome, Nieves.
Thank you very much, Liz, and thank you very much, the SourceFuse team, for having me today here. It's my pleasure to share some of the journey and some of the things that a lot of women probably are willing to hear into what it takes to come into such a tech position, and what are some of the opportunities that we also have as a women in this industry.
That's great. We're really glad for you to be here. So my second guest is Surbhi Saimbi, Partner Manager at AWS, an accomplished business leader with experience in working with strategic global technology stakeholders. Her skills in managing strategic alliance and driving key enterprise initiatives have helped to build cloud application practices from the ground up, particularly across North America, EMEA, and APAC. Welcome, Surbhi.
Thanks, Liz. Thank you so much for the warm welcome. Really excited to be part of the session today. Thank you.
Great. So let's dive in. Let's start with the theme of this year's International Women's Day, Break the Bias. I'll come to you first, Nieves. What are your thoughts on this theme of Break the Bias?
Yeah, well, I think break the bias is something that applies not only for women, but also for other minorities. So I will say that one of the first things that I would like everybody to acknowledge is that there are a lot of minorities. Myself, I'm not a, like a native English speaker. Then you can have like different ethnicities or different kind of capabilities as well. And I do want to acknowledge that breaking the bias goes beyond the gender, but also in other areas.
Thanks, Nieves. And coming to you, Surbhi, what are your thoughts on Break the Bias theme?
First of all, just the fact that the theme for this year's International Women's Day is Break the Bias just goes to mean that people are acknowledging that bias exists, right? Whether it's deliberate or unconscious. And like Nieves mentioned, it's beyond just gender bias, right? It's again, it could be against religion, region, race, community, language, everything. And I think it's high time we break the bias. Need to see what people bring to the table beyond where they come from. Hiring needs to happen based on the most suitable person for the job, and I think employers need to make sure that the workplace is a safe environment for everyone who works there.
Yeah, really great points there, both of you. And Surbhi, in today's world, what kind of factors do you feel impact a woman's ability to lead?
While Liz, I feel, nothing really can impact a woman's ability to lead. There's enough talent in the world. Women are capable of leading an organization, a team, just as efficiently as men can. But I know what you mean, right? And there are factors that are responsible for why we don't see many women climbing the corporate ladder today. Why is the pyramid, the way it is? Why is it so skewed at the top? I still remember when I joined the corporate world way back in 2007, and I was a fresh campus recruit. And, for the organization, we were almost 130 people who had joined together, and almost 50% of those were women. But today, 15 years down the line, when I see that's completely turned, right? I don't see too many women in the meeting rooms that I walk in today. So definitely something somewhere goes wrong midway. All said and done, women are primary caregivers. Whether you call it social conditioning, whether you call it reality, that's really what it is. A lot of women at the peak of their career do take a decision to, take it slow in their career or take a break for a couple of years, especially after they have a kid. And I've friends who've taken a break for like even 5 to 7 years, when they had a couple of kids and, just they thought they needed more at home. So that's definitely one of the major factors why we see not many women in leadership positions today. Second, I also feel women need to stop getting so harsh on themselves, right? I still remember when I came back from my maternity leave, I was literally putting in 200% because I didn't want anyone to really say, her productivity has gone down because she took a break or since she's come back from leave. Frankly, my organization never made me feel that, right? But it's just that we're so harsh on ourselves all the time. We feel guilty for everything that we do. We feel guilty for putting family first. We feel guilty for putting work first, for putting yourself first. So I think we just need to stop doing that very, very consciously now. The third and the final point, right? I've heard a lot of recruiters say that not a lot of women apply for senior positions. In fact, I was also reading somewhere that men apply for positions where they even see like a 60% skill match, while women don't apply till they see like an 80 to 90% match. So and I've heard hiring managers say that if I get 50 people responding to a job application, maybe only 2 women do. So it just makes the job of the hiring manager and the recruiter that much more difficult, right? So I think there are a lot of factors that really play a role in why we don't see a lot of women leaders today.
Yeah, that's so interesting. And I was getting flashbacks to my freshers years then as well.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, the only girl in my physics class. So and Nieves, coming back to you, could I ask you the same question? So the factors that you feel impact women's leadership abilities.
Yeah, I think that survey has done a very good job in saying some of those factors. I will add that there was a study as well in one of the universities in Spain that it was saying that in the same exam, they did the following experiment. They did ask them to do the exam and then later to say how good or bad did the exam itself. And when they asked that, the women were always underrating themselves. They were saying that, oh, I'm not sure if I'm gonna pass, right? While men were a lot more confident in their assessment of the exam. But when they saw the results, indeed it was the opposite. So women were a lot more successful than the men. So I do agree with Surbhi that one of the things that happens to us is that we are very demanding with ourselves. We're always very demanding and asking ourselves more and more, and I'm not good enough, and how, can I do it better? And there is also like that kind of role model that has been there for years, right? Where you always saw like that kind of a more aggressive approach, which I think that now is changing, right? But let's say that the role model that we had when we were childs, it was a more, let's say, men leading with a little bit more aggressive that some of the women are comfortable with in being in a leadership position. So I think that we have to recognize that women, we do have other strengths and they are not in opposition to what a leader should look like. Indeed, leadership, I believe, is changing as well. So we do need to see what are the strengths that each of the roles are providing, and like what do you need for your team in particular. And some of the time you're going to need somebody that is more comforting, that has more empathy, that like there are some of the qualities that maybe are usually, and I'm not generalizing, right, because men can be also very empathetic and very comforting, but in general those are like more aligned with the women kind of generic skills, and they provide a different perspective. So I think that having a balance and having diversity in your team, in your leadership team, also provides that balance in the skills that you have. And that can also attract more talent that may look, for different kind of perspectives. And we have something in Amazon that we call our right a lot, which is actually to seek for different perspectives and things when you are trying to making a decision. And I think that kind of diversity and that kind of different skills are contributing a lot into having better decision as an outcome.
Mm. Yeah, oh gosh, I could relate to so much of what you were both saying there. Really interesting hearing it from, both your perspectives there. Coming back to Surbhi, how has the IT industry changed, from your perspective in the past 5 years, and what might you predict will happen in the next 5 to 10 years?
Sure. So while as I feel, I'm not really the authority to talk about the IT industry as a whole, because that's like so wide and there are things happening every day, and I don't even think I have the authority to do that. But I will still, talk about what we've seen in the past few years, how we're seeing the industry and workplace change and evolve as a whole, right? If I see the last 2 years, we really saw how the pandemic changed the course for the industry, for the workplace, for the workplace, right? We saw a huge uptake in the digital and cloud adoption due to the need for high availability, backup and disaster recovery, business continuity, remote working. But at the same time, if I really come down to the workforce level, we also saw huge attrition, especially with female employees. Because just the entire burden of housework, childcare, managing work, managing schooling, homeschooling, it just got too much after a point, right? And we actually saw a lot of women, just taking a year or taking a few months off to just kind of tackle the entire burden that's kind of fallen on their shoulders. At the same time, we also saw the other side where, a lot of men actually stepped up to share the load, take equal responsibilities in not only the house chores, but even the childcare. So I think now is the time we really need to think of how do we get those women back into the industry. Like I said, right, there's no dearth of talent. We just need to see what skills are available, what skills could be coachable, how do you really train them and enable them to come back into the industry. Secondly, just the way the generation is viewing workplace these days is very different. Like maybe 40 years back, employment was a source of income, a means to provide the basic, necessities of life, taking care of the family. We then progressed to a phase where people became more career oriented. They wanted to build a career. They wanted to maintain a standard of living. But if you see today, people want them more than just employment or a paycheck or a career, right? They want empowerment, flexibility, a sense of purpose in what they're doing, and equity in the workplace. And whether we call it the Great Resignation or whatever name we want to call it, this generation, the millennials, the Gen Z, they know what they want. And if they're not getting it at one employer, they're not going to be there just for the sake of a paycheck. Right, they want something that's more intellectually stimulating, even if that means hopping from one place to the other. So I think that's quite some thinking employers would need to do in the coming months or years.
Yeah, well, that's perfect kickoff to my next question to you, Nieves. How did you get into the IT industry, and how did it become your real passion?
Yeah, indeed, passion is one of the things that definitely brought me here. So I am telecommunications engineer, but I was working more in the telco area, doing things like networking and things like that. And then I moved into a product management role. I've always been like really obsessed about customers and what they want and solving problems and trying to really make that problem to be solved forever, let's say, not putting something that is like just like a patch or something like that, but really solving it in a very efficient or user-friendly manner. And I become a product manager, and there I have the ability to get in touch with different parts of the industry, right? I was working in a very small startup by then. So I work in Ericsson and Siemens and big players, but then I moved into a very small startup that was providing me that kind of a family approach. And I recommend everybody to also try, and don't be very scared of trying different roles and different types of organizations, because they do provide you very different kind of perspectives. So in that startup, I was able to grow myself as well, and being in touch with different parts, like Internet of Things, for example, and then moving from the telco to a more industrial kind of a scenario. And then later on, I had the pleasure to be the VP of product. So we were acquired by one of the large organizations, which is Gemal Totales, and they made me the VP of product. So I was kind of doing like a hub in between the startup, which was doing a very agile kind of methodologies, and the large organization with, let's say, it was a little bit more conservative, very established, with other types of methodologies and processes, but very large scale. So it's beautiful to have those different experiences, right? Then I moved to Australia, and when you move country, you almost have to start from zero. It's not starting from zero, but kind of, right? You need to rebrand yourself and to build your reputation again. And I did that with a couple of companies before I joined AWS. And since then, I kept moving. One of the things that I will suggest to all women and men and everybody that is hearing here is that you should definitely think big. Just visualize yourself. Where do you want to be? What is that thing that is in your passion? What is that thing that will make you wake up every day and just be super happy going to work, knowing that you are doing your best, right? So for example, on my side is, as I said, like solving problems, usually very innovative. So I'm not really constrained by uncertainty. I like uncertainty. I like things that have not been solved before. And I like to try to explore and solve them. So that's why artificial intelligence was kind of a perfect fit, right? It's something that has that scale. It can solve very, very important problems, both socially and economically. And it was kind of my passion to do that, especially for public sector customers, which is AI for good. So long story short, quite a long journey, thinking big and trying to know where was my next step. You always have to think like kind of 2 steps ahead and trying to go into that direction. And yeah, just don't be afraid of trying. And look, you don't need to know everything. You will learn in the journey.
Yeah, do you know, it's so exciting actually hearing you describe it like that. A lot of variety, and you know, having the courage to go for it, even moving countries. You know, they're big steps, but exciting steps. It really does sound like a really great journey. And actually, because you're a leader in the AI ML space, what would you suggest is the best resource for people that want to start diving into this industry? Where would they start?
Yeah, okay, so start learning. So be curious, try to learn as much as you can. You know, we have internet, we have so many free courses, trainings. The information is overwhelming these days, right? So if you think that something really interests you, give it a try, start learning, try to dive a little bit and see if that's something that really resonates with what you want to do. Is it solving the things that you would like to solve in your life? You know, I always think that in 10 years time, how will I like to look at myself, right? Did I did what I should do in my life? Am I going to be proud of myself or not? So I would suggest to put yourself that objective and then just start to talk to people that are already in that position. I'm happy to get some, you know, pings and mentoring. I am collaborating with universities to mentor women. And, you know, I always tell them, like, you have to believe in yourself. Number one, that has to believe in yourself. After me, it has to be you. And look, I already believe in yourself like this. So you need to believe in yourself and make sure that you have the resources and the mentoring, and you evolve yourself with people that can help you in that journey, that can give you positivism. There is a lot of people that will tell you, a lot of excuses of why you shouldn't do it. And I think that sometimes you just need to also follow the people that are a little bit more encouraging you to do things. They can be crazy. You can, maybe just do them and then later regret it. But that experience won't go out of you. So I think it's worthy at least to try and then see if that's for you. And if it's not, just change.
Yeah. So a lot about trusting your gut, knowing what you want to do, and just trusting yourself to go for it. And coming back to you, Surbhi, what is the one piece of practical advice that you would give to someone starting out?
I actually give 3, if that's okay. The first is, I think, what Nieves mentioned, right? Learn. We have a leadership principle at Amazon that we call learn and be curious, right? The first 4 or 5 years, I feel, of your career are very important to really lay the foundation of what you want to do ahead in life, right? So just take that opportunity. Don't look at what organization you're a part of, how much are you getting paid end of the month, but just see what you can learn, how you build skills, right? Because skill is what you're going to be valued for in life moving forward. Lay a strong foundation for yourself. So just learn and learn. I cannot emphasize that enough. Second, building a network, right? Because you're going to have a long career, and you don't know which people you would want at what stage of your life. And it's always good to have good coaches, good mentors on the way, right? So just network wherever you find an opportunity, build connects with people who you work with. Always part an organization on good terms, right? So that's what will go a long way. Finally, a piece of advice for women starting out fresh, right? Just stop feeling guilty. It's fine. There are phases in your life you will have. Everyone will forgive and forget, and you will move on. There'll be a next phase of life. So it's fine. Don't feel guilty about putting yourself first, your family first, or your work first. Just do, like you mentioned, just do what you feel right in your gut, and just go with it. Set your priorities and go for it.
That's lovely. I get goose pimples when I hear the two of you talking, because it's very inspiring. Thank you. So coming back to International Women's Day, SourceFuse's did a really nice gesture this year, just to sort of recognize and appreciate all the women that are working at SourceFuse. But staying with you, Surbhi, how do you actively promote Break the Bias theme within your team, or International Women's Day? How do you promote that?
So I think it's most important to just support other women leaders, right? Women need to pull other women up. That's as simple as it gets. I mean, you don't need to step over someone to succeed in life or succeed in your career. You can all reach there together. Everyone has their own goals in life, and you can all reach the top together. In fact, I've been very lucky that I've had a couple of very strong female supporters with me in my in my peer group. They're really my sounding boards, my advisors, my mentors. Anything going wrong in my personal or professional life, I know I can go to them. They'll show me the mirror. And if nothing, they'll just be with me, right? While I fight through the struggles of life, I know they're just there. And end of the day, we can just go have a drink together, right? Even if virtually. So I know they're there. So I think that's what's important. Just understand, empathize, right? Empathy goes a long way. Just empathize with the other women leaders in your team, in your supporting teams, and just see how you can make each other's life easier.
That's lovely. Thanks, Surbhi. And perhaps the same question to you, Nieves. In your teams, how would you actively promote it?
Yeah, so look, I am very glad to have a lot of women in my team. So we are women. We try to tell to the world that we are here. I think it's important to recognize that we are here, we are doing a contribution, and we try to socialize as well together to provide that energy and that reinforcement that some of the women needs as well. We all have ups and downs, and sometimes, we all need a kind of a reinforcement that you are doing a great job, and this is the contribution that you have. And I think it's a month for celebrating, for recognizing the merits of the people that have been contributing to the team, especially women during this month, and also to try to support each other. So it's very similar to what Surbhi was saying, just trying to support other leaders, sharing ideas, brainstorming. And as I was saying, I'm also mentoring students. So I try to also do some of those exercises and get some of the lessons learned from them, socializing some of the learnings from the broader group.
Yeah, well, thank you both so much. I've really enjoyed hearing both of your experiences and your insights today. I mean, you're clearly both very busy women. You know, Nieves, you're on the move as well, I can see. But just before we finish, Nieves, do you have any final thoughts that you'd like to share with us?
No, just to every woman, everybody that is hearing us, believe in yourself. You can do it. Just think big, start small, just put the plan, start small, surround yourself by people that believe in you, that can help you in that journey and can, you know, like bring you into that vision that you have. Just don't give up.
That's lovely. Thanks, Nieves. And any final thoughts from you, Surbhi?
I think Nieves covered it very well. Just believe in yourself, go for it, follow your passion, your dreams. Like I was telling you in the just before the call, Liz, you know, I'm facing one of those moments today where my nanny decided to call in sick and my partner had to go for a meeting, and you know, I'm with my 4-year-old alone, and you know, I'm juggling between him and the doorbell ringing and working. So you can do it all. You know, no matter who tells you that you can't, you can. So just follow your dreams and go for it.
Yeah, and just not be so hard on ourselves all the time. We can do it. We can do it.
Can't emphasize this enough. Even something as simple as, you know, you compliment a woman for her looks, she'll give you 10 reasons of why it's, you know, I just have a good hair day, or just, you know, everything is in place, so I'm looking good. Just graciously say a thank you, and, you know, you deserve every bit of it. So, yeah, I think we have a lot to learn as well. But I think the discussion was really great, Liz and Nieves. You know, very enlightening, great talking to both of you, and I'm really glad we could do this.
Yes, and thank you very much as well on my side. It was really great to be here and sharing with you like some of those knowledge, and yeah, just go for it.
So a huge thank you to both of you, Nieves and Surbhi, for joining me today. And thanks as well to our audience for watching. Join us again soon for our next Talking Out Cloud with SourceFuse.